All right, we are live again. This is take two. We're going to go live with Lisanne. We had her on, it froze, and we had just a still frame there. So we're going to do this again. If you're just joining, we do these lives to help people share their stories and help other people find hope that it's possible, that it's doable. Lisanne has dropped 29 pounds. Get my hair under control here. 29 pounds in basically 2 months, 2.5 months. She's on maintenance now. And so she's seen some great progress. She just shared with us before. I'll get her to share it again. We'll bring her on here. She just shared. She's tried a bunch and she joined the program, has seen some great progress. So I see her here. I'm going to bring you on, Lisanne, see if we can get you on here. It says it's adding. We're going to get her on here and it's going to work. I know it. We went live. If you missed the intro, you can go watch it again, but we'll recap once we get her on here as well. Here we go. Jesse, welcome back. Kathy, how are you? Ashley, Kyle, what's up, man? How are you? Debbie, Laura. Hey, we're back.
Hi.
Awesome. It's working.
This seems better.
Seems better. Okay, well, let's go with it. So, okay. All right, so give us just a recap really fast. I know you said where you were at before the program. Just give us a recap of that.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. So I'm sure that you just destroyed that old life, so I'll just start again. So I'm Lisanne. I'm from Utah. I've lived all over the place, but I live in Utah right now. I'm an online entrepreneur, and my weight loss journey I guess it like really started within the last 10 years. When I grew up, I didn't struggle with weight because I was just really active. But when I graduated with my undergrad, something magic happened, and I just started to gain a lot of weight when I got my first desk job. So um, I tried all kinds of things. The only thing that worked was a gluten-free, sugar-free diet with this pretty severe calorie restriction. I was only eating like 11 to 1,300 calories a day, basically starving myself. And I lost a lot of weight, but I was starving and totally wrecked up my metabolism. So when I started eating normally again, I gained a bunch of weight, and I was trying other methods to take it off. So I've done Medifast, I've done Herbalife, I've done Isagenix, all of which had marginal results. A lot of them made me sick, but as every person who yo-yo diets knows, you just gain the weight right back. So when I talked to Jared, to be honest, I was like really skeptical, and I was like, yeah, well, because I've followed you for a year before I contacted you, because you'd post and you'd say, lose 25 to 40 pounds in 6 weeks, and I was just like, what a load of snake oil. That is like not even true. Um, and one night I was just I was on Isagenix, and I had been on it for almost a year. I'd lost 25 pounds but gained 12 back, and I was just really depressed. Like at midnight, I texted Jared and I said, "Hey, I've been following you for a year. Can I get on a call with you?" And he was like, "Sure." So got on a call, and you talked about a lot of the things that I value, which is real food and real nutrition. And I already considered myself a relatively healthy person who ate well, and so it was just really confusing to me why my body wasn't responding to that. So I was really intrigued, and so while like truthfully doubtful, I was like, why not? I've tried everything else, so jumped in, gave it a shot, and I'm the type of person where I give it everything that I've got when I do something. So that's I didn't approach this program any different. I mean, I measured everything to a T, followed every rule, double checked on everything with Jared. Like I wanted to make sure that I was giving my body the best chance of success, and I've been really, really fortunate. So yeah, I'm super, super grateful for the Metabolic Reboot program and your support, and where I've come so far.
Yeah, awesome. Well, the cool thing is you've done all the work. I just said, hey, here's what you should do. But which is, I'm super excited for you. I know it's been a journey. So I'm excited for where you're at and where, the things to come as well. The best part for me is after you lose the weight, it's way more fun to keep it off. Like it's a way more fun experience. At least maybe not right in the beginning. It's super fun losing weight.
That's
Six
awesome.
years
Yeah,
later,
we'll see.
yeah. So 6 years later, it's a total mental shift because you're like, I love keeping the weight off. Like I love just enjoying life and eating treats and cookies. And Lisanne and I were talking just before this call, and we were talking about some of that stuff. So we'll get down there. We'll get there for sure. So, okay, so you've had lots of experience with, Rachel Opdahl. I hope I said that right. Says hi, Lizzie, with two hearts and higher eyes. So she's watching.
Hey, what's up?
Okay, so you've had lots of experience with weight loss programs and things. As you've gone through this program, tell me what's been maybe different for you. What's the experience been like in comparison to other programs? Because I'm sure people joining the program are like, yeah, I've done all that stuff too, and Jared's talking snake oil again. Like, what's the real truth? Like, is it different? What's like, what for you has been kind of the difference in your experience so far?
I think the biggest difference is with every other program that I've ever done, the focus is weight loss. Whereas with the Metabolic Reboot, the focus is get your body healthy and create an environment where your body can work properly. Um, so, I mean, that's a much more like long-term mindset in my mind than just lose the weight. And I think that's why people yo-yo diet is because they lose the weight, but then they go back to old patterns and they gain the weight back. So um, I was also looking for something sustainable. Like I knew that I couldn't do Isagenix forever. I thought for a while about doing the keto diet. I know that keto is not sustainable. And all of them made me nervous because I was like, well, I know that I need to do something sustainable, but I just don't. I just couldn't find it. And so when you were just talking about how it's a lifestyle, it's sustainable, and it's about getting your body healthy, not just about losing weight, then that was a big game changer for me and a big way that this is different than other things.
Yeah. Cool. I love that. For me, that's the whole thing for me. Like that's the only way I've ever found success too. Is like you have to get the body healthy. So I think that's key. So very cool. So as you've gone through the experience, I know we've had to like figure some things out and do some stuff to make sure we're getting some optimal health going on. Tell me about your experience as far as like as you joined the program, first couple of weeks, as you went through the program. And just so everybody knows, the first 6 weeks is losing, give or take a little bit, and then we go into maintenance or locking phase, as we call it. Lisanne is in the locking phase now. We're stabilizing the set point. But as you started going into the losing phase, what was kind of your thoughts, your experience as you kind of got rolling into things?
Yeah, so um man, going back to those first days, they were pretty rough. I mean, I'll be honest, like I knew because I had done sugar-free and gluten-free diets before, like I knew very well that the sugar withdrawal is very real and that you just have an extreme headache the first 3 days. So like I kind of like went into this like with my war suit on and I was like, okay, the first 3 days are gonna suck. And they did. So it was, but I know that like that was my body doing what it needed to do to heal. But so the first few days I had a pretty gnarly headache and my energy was down pretty low and I was detoxing pretty heavily. So I was using the restroom quite a bit and really low on energy and it was rough and I was really grateful to have your support through that because like with a lot of diets, it's like here's a box of product, good luck. And
Yeah.
so like you
Yeah.
don't really know like what if your body's responding in a certain way, you just don't really know what's going on. So it was really great to reach out to you and you said, okay, well, if your energy is really low, add salt to everything. And that's true. Like salt has become my best friend. It's my condiment of choice. So adding salt really helped. And then a couple weeks in, you had me add an extra ounce of meat to help me get energy because I was having a hard time focusing with my work. And so that was really helpful. But in the beginning, it was definitely an adjustment. It was really it was a tough adjustment. Now, with that being said, like I was enjoying eating healthy. It was fun to I'm a trained chef, so I was really concerned about like not cooking with oils because like with trained chef, like olive oil is the elixir of life. And so um, learning to cook with coconut aminos and Bragg's aminos and chicken broth and water was like a whole new concept for me. So like I've learned like a new way to cook, which has been great. And now I share my meals with my family and they're like shocked. They're like, you're telling me this has no grain, no dairy, no sugar, no fat, and it tastes better than anything I could make. And I'm like, yes, yes, it does. But in the beginning, it was a rough adjustment, and it's a great way to eat, but it takes a lot of preparation. I mean, I was spending like an hour preparing my food and then an hour eating my food because there's so many vegetables. It like took me forever to chew everything. So like one of my calls, I called you and I was like, I'm spending like 4 hours a day between meal prep and eating. Like this is like a part-time job, and and you were just really great and patient with me and just saying like, look, like this is a lifestyle that you're building. There's hacks that you can learn, like you can have a vegetable cutting session. You can batch cook things. I mean, you gave lots of suggestions, like with every single roadblock that I hit, whether it was physically or mentally or culinarily. You always gave ideas for me to be able to modify how I approached it to make it work, but still like follow the program exactly.
Yeah.
So it was good, but it was. I mean, if any whoever watches this, like in the beginning, it is very very challenging, but nothing that's worth doing is not hard. So
Yeah.
it you gotta stick with it.
Yeah. So I guess the question then is it still hard?
Um, yeah, yes, but it changes. Like I was just telling Jared, like right before we got on the call, like I really want a chocolate chip cookie and some potato chips. Like no one's business. Like I want something crunchy. I want something sweet. Um, but I, but how I feel and how I'm approaching the this process like is worth it to me. So I'm just kind of I'm just I've just decided to take it a day at a time, and I just know that like in the morning I'm not having breakfast and I drink fiber instead. And at lunch I make a great huge meal, and at dinner I make a great huge meal, and then the next day I do it again. So like I know that when you keep talking about snacks, which is a little bit torturous, but I'm just doing my best to like honestly just take it one meal at a time and not because when you think about like 6 weeks and then another 4 weeks of locking on top of that and then another round and then a lifestyle like it can get overwhelming. So I just take it each day at a time and and it's and it's great. So no, it's not as hard, but it's different hard along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that. And it's I know you said to me, what did you say? It's been like I think 2.5 months since we started. You're like, it's crazy. It's been 2.5 months. It's funny as we approach something and anticipate it. It's like, man, that's gonna be forever. And then you look back and like, oh, that went by really fast. But it's a different hard because I always say like it's hard to struggle with your weight and to be obsessed about it and not get answers and to lose it and gain it back. And I'd rather deal with a little food prep and eating good foods and learning how to make them tasty and really enjoy it than deal with the other hard for sure. So, and
Yeah,
and yes,
no,
for
for
those
sure.
watching, there is a point where we get to in the program. We have different phases. The first phase is all about losing the weight, so we are a little more specific. The next phase is about locking it in. So we increase the amount of food. And I think you were telling me something about how like it's just a ton of food and you love how much food you can eat. It's a ton of food. And then we get to the point where it's more about lifestyle. And we talk about how do you have the treats? How do you have the snacks? How do you have the goodies, the pancakes, the whatever it is you want to have, and do it in a way that doesn't compromise the health. So Lisanne's almost there. We're like a week or two away. So I was
Woohoo!
torturing her a little bit with some ideas, but so anyway, we'll get there for sure. So, okay, cool. So as you went through, so I know you traveled a couple of times while you were on the program. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what did you do to be successful? I know you were gone for like weekends or I can't remember exactly, even took some conferences and things. What did you do to be successful? Whether that was like a physical thing, a mental thing, like what helped you be successful as you traveled?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and it looks like I'm frozen, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great. You are frozen in a very pensive, almost thought
Yeah.
position.
Yes, a very wise
Yes.
position. So I traveled 3 times during the losing phase, and the first time I traveled, I had like serious anxiety because it was like a week and a half in. Like I think I was on like day 10 when I left, and so like it was still like really much, really very much in the beginning, and I had by day 10 I had lost like 9 pounds, and so I was like, I do not want to break this, but I was going to Denver to be a drummer for a band, and so like I couldn't just like bail. So the house that I was staying at, I found out how many meals I had to eat out, and then how many meals I could eat in. And I went to the grocery store and just bought. I bought some steaks, some beef steaks, some bison steaks, and some chicken breasts, and then I calculated like how many meals I needed, and then multiplied that by 4 for how many ounces of vegetables and fruit that I needed. And I got some strawberries and apples. I got some lunch meat and carrots as well for like the days where I would be like out to lunch, but could bring my own food. Um, and then vegetables, like zucchini and broccoli and asparagus and things like that. And then of course the free vegetables. So I ended up only eating at a restaurant twice, and both times I just did the best that I could. So like one of them was Red Robin, and I just got a turkey burger wrapped in lettuce, and I didn't get any cheese or sauce or anything like that. I just asked for some vinegar. And then the other meal, I got a filet mignon steak, and I had them steam some snap peas, and I brought an apple with me because I knew the restaurant probably wouldn't have fruit. So, and then I had a side salad as well with a steak, and it was so good. It was like super tasty, and it worked out well. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit embarrassed, like asking the waiter to like, can you not make it with any butter? And he looked at me like I was crazy, but like whatever, it's my body, right? Um, so that was the first vacation, and then the second vacation I actually went a day early and um, went to a friend's house, and I prepped all my meals. So I made 8 meals in one day, and I bought containers, and I brought every meal, and so I didn't even have to think about eating. And that was great because it was a conference where the food was catered, so like I couldn't control what was eating. And every meal I would go and look at the options, and I was like, I wouldn't have been able to eat anything, and it would have been really stressful. So I was grateful that I meal prepped. And then the second trip I also meal prepped. So um, and the last trip I drove, so I actually meal prepped at home and then just packed a cooler with food and then left. So one I came a day early and food prepped. The other one I just prepped it at home and drove, and then the other one I did about half and half. So it made it so I didn't have to worry about food at all, and it was really interesting. Like at most of the meals, people would look at me and be like, "Oh, where did you get that? That's the one I want." And I'm like, "I made it." Um, so yeah, it worked out great, and I was grateful to not have to worry about food. But it was hard too. I mean, I'm a foodie, and I so it was hard to look at like the different options on the menu or of things that I would have liked to have tried. But it's okay. I mean, I was willing to forgo that for my goals. So it worked out just fine.
Yeah, cool. And I think you just hit on such an important part is like we go out to eat like weekends, birthdays, holidays, we travel, we have all these times in life where we're like, well, I don't want to miss out. And it's like, well, pick your battle. Like, do you want to struggle with your weight or do you want to miss out like once or twice? And oh, your screen just popped back on, but
Yeah, let's see if I can get it
we're
back. Okay, perfect.
okay, cool. So yeah, so it's like one of those things. It's like pick your battle. Like when you look back at these last couple of trips, you're going to remember these trips for the rest of your life as they were pivotal moments in your life when you were taking control of your health versus other trips. You probably don't even remember what you ate or if you ate or where you ate. You did. You might remember a really good restaurant you might have gone to, but you're
Mm-hmm.
going to remember this as a pivotal moment where you had a greater goal and you stuck to it, which is awesome. So that's huge. I mean, I think prep is important. just being a little assertive, being that person at the restaurant is okay to be, and tell the waiter, hey, I just don't want any butter or whatever. We're just going to be specific. So that's awesome. Those are great.
To talk about that. So
That's the best
um,
part, right?
my first trip, my day 10 through 15, I lost 5 pounds. And then my last two trips, well, one was in the maintenance phase, so that I didn't lose any, and then the other, I think I lost 3 or 4 pounds. But regardless, like losing weight on a trip period is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I was like totally geeky too, because like I like packed my scale, and so like I like weighed myself every day on vacation, and people are like, "You're crazy."
Yeah, which is cool. I did not tell her to do that. That's not something I require, but it's totally motivating though, right? When you're like, man, I'm down 2 pounds on my second day of vacation. Of course I'm going to stick with this. Like
Yeah, no joke.
so very cool. Okay, so you've been busy, you've traveled, you've had some good experience. So as you've gone through the program, tell us about like what you've experienced results wise. Like what are some of the things that you've seen benefit wise? What are some of the things that you've kind of noticed as you've gone through the program for yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think the first things that I noticed was that okay, I'll start with a couple strange things. So um, I never get bad breath ever now. Like my breath is totally great, and so it's been like fascinating. Like I don't think I was like ever a person that had like pretty bad breath, but like I mean, everyone has it occasionally, like the nappy mouth. So um, I haven't had bad breath. I never have stinky farts. Sorry if that's like bad to say on these calls, but like I never do. And um,
We're back live. I can see your
yeah,
screen.
I
It's
keep
just
I keep switching my screens trying to see if I can
okay. I'm just
get it
letting you know
unstuck.
you're not like so Anyway, okay, there we go. You're back.
No, and we're back again. And then of course my clothes started to fit more comfortably, which was super nice. Um, so that was great. And then my clothes started to not fit at all, which was great. My skin cleared up, so my skin looks great. And people started to say, they're like, you just have like a glow. And I haven't changed any of my spiritual habits; they're still the same. So it's not spiritual glow; it's food glow. Um, I think the practice of being disciplined with your food also helps me be disciplined in other areas of my life. So I think that when you're disciplined, it helps you make better decisions all around. So I think my decision making is more thoughtful, because my choosing my food is more thoughtful as well. So I've seen benefit. Oh, and I do a lot of emotional work for my emotional health as well. And like you can only, like if you're physically at one level, emotionally one level, physically one level, spiritually one level, like they have to go together. So like if you raise your spiritual level of being, it raises your if you raise your physical level of being, it raises your spiritual level of being. And if you raise your physical and spiritual level of being, it raises your emotional level of being. And so I've just enjoyed like the compound effects of this process and what it's done for me mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, as well as just the fact that I just am more comfortable in my own skin. So um, that's been great. I'm yeah. So I mean, I still have a ways to go with my goal, but I I feel really great. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Super cool. I mean, from little things to like bad breath, which is a total real thing. I feel like I used to be a total gum junkie, and now I never chew gum. I never need it. So it's a real
Yeah.
thing. But I agree with you. I think that when you take, I've noticed in my own life that taking control of my physical health has had more impact on my spiritual and emotional health than trying other ways to fix my emotional and spiritual health or improve them. It's been, if that makes sense. Like I'm a total
Hmm.
like I believe in taking control of your spiritual and your emotional and your relationships and social, but it's been amazing to watch as I've elevated my physical health and been disciplined. I think one of the hardest places in life to be disciplined around is our food choices, at least in the United States. And so it's learning to do that. And when you do that, it elevates every area of your life, which is really cool. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Super, super cool to see. So anything as you've gone through the program that you like learned about yourself or that were like aha moments, you're like, oh, I get it. Or like, oh, I do that. Like, that's weird. Or anything like that that you kind of like had a realization around as you went through the process?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my biggest issues before joining the program that I just kept asking myself is like, what is wrong with my body? Like, it is like nothing is working. And I just must have a very sensitive constitution and I haven't figured out, like, cracked the code, with it. And I just I just think, this process has helped me realize like there's nothing wrong with my body. There was just a lot of things wrong with the food choices that I was making in terms of either what I was eating or when I was eating or how much I was eating. And granted, like I was not a fast food or processed food junkie, but I still had my fair share of mashed potatoes and cheesy tacos and crunchy tortilla chips and queso. Like I still had my fair share of those things. So um, the biggest realization is just like your body is not just a tool of pleasure, but like it's a machine that needs proper fuel to function. And not to say that like I'm not living a life of any pleasure. I just need to find it in different ways. So like I'm trying to get more value out of my relationships and more value and pleasure out of the books that I read or when I like I've decided to like treat myself to a nap instead of ice cream, And because I notice like when I'm tired, I want a snack. So if I'm well rested, like I really decrease that level of snackage desire. So um yeah, I think the biggest realization is just like I need to you always say like if you water a plant with gasoline, like it's not going to grow, like even though it's liquid. So like just treating my body like it's a machine that needs proper fuel to function has just been a really great thing. And I've known for a long time that like that I need to find something that I'm comfortable with doing a lifestyle with, but I just haven't found it. But with this, like I can definitely see myself like building a lifestyle around this, especially like in the maintenance phase. For those of you that haven't gotten to the maintenance phase, like when Jared says it's a lot of food, like he's not joking. Like my plate is like I literally almost need two plates to fit all the food on it. Like it's ridiculous. Like like
And
ridiculous how much
no
food it is.
weight gain, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no weight gain even with all that food.
Mm-mm. No, I think I stopped the losing phase at like 166 and now I'm 163. So like I've even lost some weight as I'm eating just like copious amounts of food. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
it's been great. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. So I love it. I love everything you just said there, and it's right on that. It's you can eat as much food as you want as long as it's the right kind. You just gotta, like you said, give your body the right fuel. So I love that. And awesome. I mean, congrats to you on the learning experiences and the growth and that's the stuff that allows us to create a life that's centered on health, so that we don't have to worry about the yo-yoing anymore. We can find that sustainability component for sure. So very cool. So, okay, so last couple of questions I always like to ask people. If someone were joining the program, like say someone's just starting, right? They're getting ready to get going. What's kind of if you had one or two words of wisdom or advice for them, what would that be?
Do it. Uh, I would say that um, it's as much a mental game as it is a physical game. And so, you really need to just brace yourself. I mean, like it's a mental game in terms of like measuring the food and making sure that you're not eating what you don't need to, and you're focusing on the good stuff, and that you're also putting good energy to it, right? Like you need to believe that it's going to work. Like, and while I said I was skeptical, I also like made the choice to believe even though I was skeptical. So I think it's a mental game as well as a physical game. And then I would say that the second thing is to just be patient and take it one day at a time. And that as you focus on your body healing and not the scale, like that's where real success comes. Because there were days like, I think it was like at the end of week 3 in the losing phase, I had like 4 or 5 days where nothing happened. And um, then like the next day my period started. And so like I learned that your hormones mess with your weight gain, but then like as soon as my menstrual cycle was finished, like I dropped like 3 pounds in a day. Or like there was another time when I flatlined and you had me eat only protein days, which were really, really challenging for me. But like I just trusted in the process and took it one day at a time. And like at first I was like kind of bitter about it, but then I was like, he's not asking me to eat only protein for the rest of my life. He's asking me to do it for 2 meals. Like that's it. Like
Right.
you can do that. So like just taking it one day at a time, believing in the process, knowing that it's a mental game, and just focusing on health more than weight loss, and and like and just letting your body do its thing.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's perfect. Well, very, very well said. I think that's the key is just let your body do it. It'll do it if you give it the right tools, just trust it. So very cool. So okay, so obviously you've seen some good progress, you've seen some good changes. So if there were somebody that not a single person, I don't want you to call someone out, but a type of person that you feel like would really see similar results or could benefit from this process that you've gone through, what kind of person do you feel like that might be?
Huh. It's kind of like a funny question. Like anyone that wants to be healthy. I think, well, I think one interesting thing. So my roommate right now is as thin as a rail. Like she does not need to lose any weight, but watching how I eat has changed how she's chosen to eat. Like I see her now eating more vegetables and fresh fruit with every meal, when before that was not a common occurrence. And so like who's this for? Like of course like the losing phase is for anyone that wants to lose weight in a healthy way and in a very fast way. But like this lifestyle is for every American that wants to battle the statistics of obesity and cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Um, like I love how you talk about how you want to be like an 80-year-old that's running up Mount Timpanogos. You know, I think that's a mountain in Utah. For those of you not in Utah, like I would love as well. Like I mean, like honestly, one of the biggest things that's been interesting on this diet is like whenever if I'm ever having a day where I'm like I don't want to eat another cucumber ever again, I will go out and I see these older people who are like crippled, and I'm like, okay, like my youth is not going to last forever, and I can rely on my youth right now, but I can't rely on my youth in 30, 40, 50 years. So like if I'm going to live the life that I really want to live, like I need to start now. You know, it's like the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, the second best time is today, right?
Yeah.
So um I think it's for anyone that wants to plant a tree today, like your health is you only have one life, and your health is important. So this is for anyone that wants to be really healthy.
Yeah, cool. Well, I love it, and I think you're right on. I always like to hear people's perspective because everyone's different, and as they go through the program, they're like, "Yeah, this would be great for I don't know, whoever. But I think that's the key and I love that you talk about what I always go. My goals are, yeah, I want to be 70 and 80 years old, still rocking and rolling, mountain biking and climbing up temp and all that fun stuff. And now is the time, and that's the cool thing is over 90% of what causes the chronic problems that people face nowadays is environment, like what we do with our health. Not just like in the moment, it's actually our entire lifetimes, and even actually a lot of what our parents do. I'm super pumped for you and super excited about the progress you've made. And I'm super excited for you to get your cookie here in the next couple of days. And as I always say, you can have your cookie and eat it too, or your cake or whatever it is, as long as you eat the right kind. You'll never have to struggle with your weight as long as you eat the right kind. So we'll get there here in the next week or two. But
That's awesome.
Thank you for sharing your story. And I know for a lot of people joining the program, getting ready to go through, they're watching this going, I can do that. Lisanne's got a great story and great advice. So thank you for being willing to share.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, you can do it. It is not easy, but it is worth it. And you're worth it, not just the program. So do it.
Yeah, cool. I love that. You are worth it. So, okay. Well, awesome. Well, I'll let you go. It's getting a little bit later here in our mountain time. So, thank you again, Lisanne.
Yeah, I'm about to go eat some grilled chicken and acorn squash.
Nice. I think I can't remember what we're having. We're having I haven't eaten yet. Chicken and Brussels sprouts and broccoli. And I'm not on the losing or maintenance, so I'm doing sweet potatoes. We put all that in a stuffed sweet potato. So, we'll get there. So, anyway. Okay, enjoy your meal, and then we'll talk later. Thanks again for joining and sharing.
All right. Thanks, Jared.
Okay. Yep, we'll see you.